India, particularly in the last few months. So a lot of difficult things for Mr. Modi and Mr. Putin to work through. The United States will continue to have a great relationship with India, and will continue to pressure Russia to come to peace agreements in Ukraine.
Mr. Romer, let's be very, very honest here. America's own approach to even Russia, for example, lacks what many people in India believe is moral rectitude. You want to do business with Russia, critical minerals and so on and so forth, even oil on the table. You want to engage Russia, you want to sit across the table and give them a sweet deal, cut out Ukraine, and you seem to have a grouse. I'm not saying you personally, but Trump seems to have a grouse. If India wants to engage with Russia and buy weapon systems, you in fact have cozied up to a terrorist state, Pakistan, hyphenated it once again with India. General Munir, a person who has said very clearly that he wants to wage jihad, not my words, his words, against India, is a state guest at the White House. You sell weapons, sir, to Pakistan. You also sell weapons to India. So what are we talking about? I feel that the powers that are in Washington, D.C. are looking extremely bad, very poor right now. They haven't been able to dictate terms to New Delhi. They can't get Russia to get off its high horse. They can't, frankly, even bring about a lasting, durable peace in Gaza. Trump's authority looks very compromised, sir.
Well, when you talk to me and to the United States of America about moral rectitude and trying to do the right thing as a global power, I am firmly confident and very optimistic about the role that the United States continues to try to play to create peace when Russia invaded Ukraine and took over its sovereignty and has attacked its people and attacked its prosperity and killed so many thousands of Ukrainian people going back to 2014. The United States is trying to play a positive role in bringing peace to that region of the world. The United States is trying to bring peace to the Middle East that has been at war for decades and decades and decades. And that's not an easy role for the United States to play. But I will continue to say that the United States and India have a very good and positive relationship. In fact, I served on the 9/11 Commission. I was one of the people who recommended that the hyphen be removed from the India-Pakistan relationship, and it has been. And the fact that the United States can reach out to Pakistan and do a rare earths deal or try to do some things to stabilize that country on India's border while still knowing that the strategic relationship with India is the more important prize in terms of our geopolitical relationships. Just as we reach out to Pakistan to have a decent relationship with them, but prioritize India, you can't have it both ways and say the United States can't have multiple relationships and strategic autonomy, but we can in India. And we can talk to China, we can talk to Russia, we can talk to Iran, we can talk to anybody in the global South.
You're mistaking me.
But you can't do that in the United States.
I'm saying that if the United States...
That's a contradiction in terms...
No, it's not. What I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Romer, is that the US must apply the same yardsticks that it applies to itself to some of its partners. If it thinks it can engage China and Pakistan and people that we don't like, we can do exactly the same. We can engage Russia on our terms. We want to buy oil from Russia. We should be allowed to buy oil from Russia. This is an arbitrary sanction. China buys more oil from Russia. China hasn't been sanctioned. You know this. I mean, come on. Let's not defend what is an apparent attempt at blackmail and an attempt at snapping arbitrary sanctions. I mean, how can you justify this? The Chinese buy more oil from Russia, and they're getting away with it. They're getting away with murder. But nonetheless, let's open this up.
You need to look at the historical context of the United States.
Is it not a fact, sir, that China buys oil from Russia? Is it not a fact?
which
So-
is long term, which is deep in so many different areas. The United States and India are now talking about new relationships in intelligence sharing, new relationships in AI, new relationships with iPhones and the emerging technology of the next 35 years. This is the new strategic relationship defining this century.
Okay.
Whereas, I respect this. India and Russia are talking about, how to muddle through in a legacy relationship and work out problems on oil, work out problems on defense systems that are over budget and not working very well. And the United States welcomes the attempts of Russia and India to work that out. We
Right.
respect India to have the opportunity to meet with Mr. Putin and
Okay.
have a relationship with that country.
Which
Just
leader
as you
that
should with the
purports to
United
be a
States
friend?
having multiple
Fair enough, sir.
relationships.
Which leader that purports to be a friend would slam another country and call it a failed economy? Which leader, viewers, would slap arbitrary sanctions on a friend that it involves in a larger embrace called the Quad, but spare China, who buys more Russian oil? Which friend does that, viewers? Blackmails Modi and this country and its poor. Think about
But
that.
the
I'm
rhetoric,
not
to be
saying
fair,
that it's a zero-sum
Fair,
game.
the rhetoric on both sides
Yes,
has
right, sir.
been.
I'm not saying this is a
Both
zero-sum
sides.
game.
Both sides, we've had this. The Indian side has accused the United States of certain things. And I do agree with you that some of the rhetoric coming out of Washington, D.C. about a debt economy has not been helpful.
It's
In
not
fact,
friendly.
India has
It's not
it's
respectful.
not friendly. It's not helpful.
It's not respectful.
conducive to.
It's not respectful.
Well, and it doesn't reflect the nature of the current U.S.-India relationship
I hope not,
either.
because it's a
Things
valued
on
partner.
defense are going well. Things in
Washington is a
space
valued
are going
partner.
well. Things in the economy, we're working through a trade agreement that
Yeah.
might have historical breakthroughs in the
Okay.
next month or so.
Okay, let's keep our fingers
let's not
crossed.
paint
But I
let's
don't
not
think-
paint the picture of being totally, cloudy and pessimistic.
No,
The
we're not
US
being
India-
pessimistic. We value
very
America. The Prime Minister is very clear that we're not anti-West, we're not anti-America, we're just non-West. We do things, we beat to a different drum. Accept it. Anyhow, let me just bring in Mr. Kamal Sibal. Mr. Sibal, what are we looking at here? What's the message? What is the Prime Minister trying to tell the world, specifically DC, by receiving Putin personally at the airport and rolling out the red carpet, even at the risk of earning brickbats from DC all the way to Berlin and perhaps even Kiev? What's going on here?
I think Prime Minister has made a gesture to Putin, which he has made to other leaders also. So it's not as if it's unique. If he was the only leader that he received at the airport, then it could stand out as an exceptional gesture. But there are 6, 7 other leaders that he has received at the airport, including Sheikh Hasina in the past, and the UAE person, and the Qatar leader and others. That is one part. The other is that he wanted to show extra respect to the relationship with Russia and his personal equation with President Putin, which has got strengthened over the last 11 years. They have met several times. They've had very good conversations. And he wanted actually to be able to show his regard for Putin. That's one aspect, purely in the bilateral context. The other is, yes, I agree that there is a geopolitical messaging here, where there is a lot of pressure applied on India to dilute our ties with Russia, to end defense ties with Russia, and generally to turn our back to Russia as much as possible, and almost exclusively focus on our relations with the United States. Well, that is not possible. That's not in our national interest. For us, it has never been an either-or situation, and the United States should have learned from the non-alignment days that India is not going to choose sides. It will try to work with both sides as much as is feasible. And now that India has more options and is more self-confident, and has got more capacities to follow an independent foreign policy. All the more reason, therefore, it will try and adopt a posture of not taking sides. And this is what strategic autonomy means. Strategic autonomy is not something which is written in stones that in every case, even if it is against our interests, we should take independent decisions. That's not it. Strategic autonomy merely means that when our vital national interests are involved, we will not compromise. But when they are not involved in the interest of balanced relations with other countries and give and take, we can accommodate, we can make concessions. This is what strategic autonomy is. Now, it is entirely wrong of the United States to tell us that we should not have a certain level of relationship with Russia. Why? Why? I mean, they know that this is a 70-year-old relationship. There have been virtually no problems in this relationship. It has been remarkably steady. There's a degree of confidence. Yes, our relationship with the United States is much more important, is much wider in scope. And for the future, in some senses, for the modernization of our economy, for our economic growth, for our global role, the relationship with the United States is more important than with Russia. But then it's not an either-or situation. Every country that we have relations with has its own place in the matrix of our foreign policy. If the argument is that because the United States is our biggest partner and the most powerful country, we should only look at the United States, then we must just sacrifice our relationship with every other country. It doesn't work like that. Every country, even small countries, may not bring very much value to us, economically or otherwise, have an importance of a certain kind, strategic or geopolitical or territorial or whatever. So therefore, America and Trump in particular, now look on the oil business, I think you've described it very well. China gets its oil, far more oil than India does. They get pipeline. They have pipelines, oil pipelines coming into China, which are not subjected to any sanctions. And yet there are no sanctions that have been employed on them because China has countervailing capacities which India lacks. So why bully India? Why bully India? We are the most tariffed country in the world today. And just look back a few months in February this year. It was such an excellent meeting Prime Minister had with President Trump.
It's true.
And there's nothing, honestly, if Ambassador Romer can point out if there is any provocation from our side which would justify what Trump has done, I'm willing to listen to that argument. But there's nothing that has been done by us which would provoke Donald Trump. But
on the contrary, we were asked...
All the provocations have come from his side.
We were asked by the Biden regime to actually purchase Russian oil. That's what has been publicized.
And Mr. Romer's successor, Garcetti, said that while he was in office here.
Yes.
And
so we're being punished for doing things that the Americans wanted us to do.
U.S. Commerce Secretary has said, former U.S. Commerce Secretary has said that. And he's still not removed the sanctions,
No.
the tariff, even after sanctioning Russian oil.
Yeah.
And even after the oil purchases by India from Russia have declined.
Okay, so let me widen the scope of this conversation. Let me also bring in Surya Jayanti. Surya Jayanti, I have to ask you this question. In a sense, isn't it true that Trump's hypocritical tariff war has pushed India to diversify its strategic and even trade options? Perhaps we wouldn't be here.
I think it's very easy to overstate the role that fairness plays in international relations. The idea that any country is ever fair and consistent and even-handed is a fantasy. So while I understand that India feels that it is being singled out and bullied, and I happen to agree that that's true, it's ultimately a meaningless feeling because such is the nature of international relations. Every country is in one way or another pursuing its own strategic autonomy to the greatest extent possible. They just might not have quite such a good and catchy phrase for it. And the United States is absolutely the number one in that respect. It is, more than any other country, putting itself first. And it is thus absolutely hypocritical when it then demands of other countries that they not put their interests first. But such is international relations. I think the more interesting question here is actually how is it in the United States' interest to alienate India? And that gets to the question you've just asked me, which is the broader balance of powers, the geopolitical, geostrategic reality here. It is hard to see how it helps the United States to roll out a red carpet of resentment in a greater, deeper Russia-India relationship or India-China relationship. But that is, unfortunately, the natural consequence of a tension in the relationship between India and the United States. It is hard to know exactly what the logic behind the tariffs, the 25% tariffs on India. The logic that was stated about Russian oil, I don't find particularly persuasive, partly because it was sort of a post hoc rationalization, but also for the reasons that have been laid out here, which is that other countries are buying even more Russian oil and are not facing equivalent consequences. But it is certainly true that the United States policy on Russia has been very inconsistent. And while on one hand, for example, the United States is trying to force a deeply disadvantageous so-called peace settlement on Ukraine, it is simultaneously also weakening Russia with additional oil sanctions, the ones that the White House rolled out in October, for example, on Lukoil, Rosneft, etc. So it's hard to see a particularly coherent logic behind US-Russia policy. And I think one could extrapolate and say that there isn't a lot of coherent logic behind many of the bilateral relationships that have been redefined by the current American administration. I think Brazil is another excellent example and Brazil has faced even higher tariffs than India for reasons that, likewise, it has no ability to really wrap its collective national head around. So I'd like to move the discussion a little bit away from fairness and more to the realpolitik consequences.
So let me ask you that. Let me stop you there and ask you this question. Now that some people will think that Delhi has successfully redrawn Trump's red lines, how is it going to be viewed in Washington and what are going to be the implications?
It's important to note that the United States, as far as I can tell, and I'm a former US diplomat as well, so I've seen it from the inside, I know how the sausage is made. The United States likes, indeed perhaps even loves India. I think at the foundation is a solid relationship, but it's also true that it's tense at the moment. And so I think the United States is probably looking less at the optics of what is currently going on between, for example, India and Russia with the Putin visit today, and is looking more at what the consequences, the actual concrete consequences will be. So military sales, for example, between India and Russia are going to be something that the United States is interested in. Mm-hmm. Although that's going to be somewhat variable, I think, the level of US interest, depending on whether it's pro-Moscow or anti-Moscow on any given day.
Okay. So let's get the Russian perspective in. Dr. Markov has been extremely patient, and I thank you for that. Dr. Markov, we heard a previous speaker suggest that there is no long-term gain for India to engage with Russia, and that both of them actually are not aligned in any consequential manner, apart from a few arms purchases and oil, and that this relationship is therefore founded on a very transactional convergence. How do you respond to this?
Russia and India has quite a long relationship, 75 years. After India became independent, Russia, which calls at the time Soviet Union, helped to India a lot to develop own economy and to help to preserve its sovereignty. And Russia and India will continue to cooperate in this new war. As about the United States of America and Europe, which is united by this name West, the West, we have some lessons which we learned from this year. Few, the really imperialist countries who really want domination in all the world. And they're very arrogant. And they treated us, Russians and Indians, as second sort of the people and second sort of the countries who should serve to them and who should give our natural resources and our part of economy to them to exploit us. They want to exploit us. They also imposed to India partly artificial conflict with Pakistan. You know, in the past, India, Pakistan, been part of the big India during many centuries, even thousands of years, and now they have very rival Russia. And this has been created by Great Britain and United States of America. Now they want to make same conflict as between India and Pakistan. They want to make same conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine was part of the Russia during more than 1,000 years.
Okay.
Kiev was capital of Russia during 3 centuries, and they want to have civil war.
Yes, but
between
how
Russia
do we
and
make
Ukraine.
this relationship, Dr. Markov, a little more meaningful? People are saying that it is not meaningful, it will never be meaningful. How do you respond to those cynics?
Yeah, I think that Russia and India have common interests. This common interest is, first of all, to preserve own sovereignty from aggression of the Western countries. We have now aggression mostly from Europeans and Great Britain. India now feel aggression from United States of America with this sanction war, and we also from American sanctions. So we are allies in and Western countries. We don't want to have enemies with them, but we have to give response to them, and this will make Russia and India very much friends and even allies in such geopolitical competition. Okay. We are also absolutely sure that India will continue to buy Russian oil. No doubt about this. It's not because India like Russia. It's not because India too much depend on Russian oil, but it's because India sovereign country civilization, and India will preserve its sovereignty from pressure of United States of America.
We obviously, even those commercial ties and equations will have to be measured in the scales of national interest. If it makes economic sense, we'll continue. If it doesn't, of course, becomes problematic. But nonetheless, viewers, let's just focus. Kamal Civil remains with us. I just want to focus now on the summit itself and possible outcomes. The Modi-Putin summit is aimed at giving both real options. India and Russia have been strong partners for decades, yet their economic relationship has never reached its full potential. Both sides want to correct that. Russia is wary of over-dependence on China, and India is wary of over-reliance on the United States, specifically after our experience with Trump. The target of $100 billion in trade by 2030 is meant to anchor a more diversified external economic agenda, but the two countries are nowhere near realizing that. The only reason we've got close to that is because India has spent upwards of $50 billion importing oil. So the overall trade settles at around $68 or $69 billion or somewhere there. With India now a $4 trillion economy and Russia a $2 trillion one, there's plenty of room for growth in energy, defense production, minerals, and high-value agriculture. And India is expecting a lot of things to come out of this visit, significantly strengthen bilateral economic cooperation. We're hoping that President Putin, accompanied by major business delegations, is going to sign a flurry of deals, which will also mean that India ends up exporting more to Russia and that trade becomes more balanced. And new avenues being developed to boost Indian exports, as I just suggested, viewers, in a large number of sectors, expanded market access for Indian businesses to drive job creation and support farmer incomes, multiple agreements in shipping, healthcare, fertilizers, connectivity, enhanced cooperation, anticipating people-to-people ties, whole plethora of expectations. This prompts some basic questions. Between Russia and India, has one been less reluctant than the other to enhance the full scope of the relationship? Let's put some of those questions out. I want to first go across to Kamal Sibal, who is still here with us. Mr. Sibal, what do you think on this one particular issue? Why is it that despite these decade-long ties, you've been witness to some very monumental moments, there seems to be a reluctance to go deeper, broader, wider?
Yes, on the trade side, this is true. We've been trying very hard to boost our trade ties, but we've never been able to achieve significant results. For example, we have great strengths in pharmaceuticals, but we've not been able to penetrate the Russian market beyond a point because Russia, before, of course, all the sanctions regime was imposed and their relations with Europe collapsed, they preferred buying German pharmaceuticals. They had more confidence in their quality and this and that and that. And that is one, the lack of awareness and lack of confidence in high quality Indian products. Actually, the Russians are not unaware of India's strengths. After all, they've seen how much trade India is doing with the United States. In fact, the United States is upset that we sell more to them than we buy from them. And on the services sector, we are providing, in this sector, we are actually very, very successful in the United States, in Europe and elsewhere. In the advanced, highly regulated, highly demanding economies, we are doing very well. But with Russia, we've not been able to make that kind of penetration in these sectors. So this has been a problem. But now, as I heard Putin say in one of his long sessions with the investment community in Russia a few months ago, a couple of months ago, that he had instructed his government that Russia must make every effort to expand the India-Russia trade and open up the Russian market to Indian goods. Now that they're under sanctions, they want to be able to reach out to India. The problem here is, again, there's a problem. China is next door. China is the biggest manufacturing country in the world. China can provide them all the consumer goods and other things that they want. And they have a common border. And China is not subject to or accepts sanctions. So they have the support of China in terms of having access to their needs, immediate needs. And India is not in a position to supplant what China can offer them and at prices which China can offer them. But nevertheless, there are areas where we can do that, and Russia wants to have alternative sources so that they're not overly dependent on China. Yeah. This is a problem. Okay. And then we're negotiating this India-Eurasian economic trade agreement with the Eurasian Economic Union. That might help also to open up the Russian and the Central Asian markets. For them, it's a work in progress. I don't think we will achieve success very quickly, but we will move in the right direction.
Okay, so let me bring in Dr. Gilbert Doctorow, who's author and Russian expert. Dr. Doctorow, simple question. The data shows Putin has not been very keen on looking at India as a trade partner beyond arms and oil. So I want to ask you, what holds Russia back for the last 2 decades, since at least Putin has been there, 2 decades and a half?
Well, on the Indian side, the problem is not unique to its trade with Russia. You've cited the trade with the United States, but to my knowledge, 70 billion of 100 billion in trade is IT, just as 50 billion of the 68 billion in Russian trade with India is oil. So the problem is that the trade flows are very concentrated in one specific area that is of interest to these two countries. And that is not a good foundation for building trade over the long term. Therefore, it's going to take a lot of creativity by the delegation of Russian businessmen and their counterparts in India to find new solutions. And I believe the code word today is co-production. The Russians have accumulated a vast quantity of rupees, assets, from this unbalanced trade. If that could be tapped to finance Russian investment in Indian production and co-production, of course that could be a solution, but it will not be a solution for tomorrow. At the same time, I want to call out the whole question of U.S. tariffs on India and what is it all about? I think we're getting off to the wrong footing when we say that it's about the Ukraine-Russian war. It has nothing to do with the Ukraine-Russian war. Just it has to match up perfectly with the tariffs on Brazil for Mr. Bolsonaro and with the breakup of the relationship with South Africa over the phony issue of genocide. Let's look at these three countries. What are we talking about? We're talking about three founding members of BRICS. What Mr. Trump is doing is a frontal assault on BRICS. That's what it's all about. Therefore, you can stop trading with Russian oil tomorrow, and it will not get you off the hook with the United States. The United States will go after India so long as it's an
member of BRICS.
Integral member of BRICS.
Well, that's quite the analysis. Let me bring in Adolfo Franco, Republican strategist and former spokesperson of Trump's 2024 campaign. Is that a fact? Dr. Adolfo, is that what we're looking at? That Trump's game really is to neuter BRICS, and this has got nothing to do with Ukraine and so on and so forth. This is just about breaking up BRICS one at a time.
I don't think it's just about, thank you for the invitation first. I don't think it's just about breaking up BRICS. I think that's just not accurate. I think that is a factor that is a concern for this administration and the president. There's no question. But if you look at the policy overall regarding trade across the globe, it affects more than just a BRICS country with severe penalties for trade practices or deficits with the U.S. So it's not limited to that. It is a factor. I also disagree. I think the Ukrainian oil, the sale of oil from the Ukrainian war and the sale of oil is a factor as well. So I wouldn't put all the expression, the eggs in one basket. But the BRICS issue, to the other guest's point, is legitimate. There is a question about BRICS, and that has been, of course, I worked on trade agreements way back in the George W. Bush administration under Ambassador Zellick, and that was a concern we had at that time. So that's not a new wrinkle for the Trump administration. But I think a lot of factors go into play beyond just that simple breaking up BRICS.
Well, viewers, you've got a 360 view. Tomorrow, of course, is the big day when the substantive talks will begin. We'll have to keep a hawk eye, really, on what comes out. Even resolutions, viewers. So we'll be here all day tomorrow because it's going to be a long day. It starts off at 10 in the morning and goes all the way up till about 8 in the evening, culminating in a banquet at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So it's going to be a long day, lots to analyze. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Sibal, Dr. Rao, as well as, we've kind of lost Mr. Pablo, but thank you very much. Viewers, let's now shift the gaze inwards. And that's always troublesome, problematic, because on a day when India's strategic stature was on full global display and when it matters most to put statesmanship first, the opposition chose discord over dignity. Rahul Gandhi leveled a fresh allegation, a supposed, quote, break in tradition, unquote, or protocol over meetings with foreign leaders. He said, and I quote, the tradition is that those who come from abroad have a meeting with the leader of the opposition. This used to happen during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time, Manmohan Singh's time. But what happens these days is that when foreign dignitaries come and when I go, I'm not allowed to meet them as LOP. This is their policy and they do it all the time because they're insecure. He's talking about the Indian government, viewers. Listen in.
रिलीज सरकार की पॉलिसी है। नॉर्मली ट्रेडिशन होता है कि एलओपी के साथ जो भी बाहर से आते हैं उनकी मीटिंग होती है। ये वाजपेयी जी के टाइम होता था, मनमोहन सिंह जी के टाइम होता था, ये ट्रेडिशन रहा है। बट आजकल क्या होता है कि जो फॉरेन डिग्नेटरीज आते हैं या जब मैं कहीं बाहर जाता हूँ तो सरकार उनको सजेस्ट करती है कि एलओपी से नहीं मिलना चाहिए। तो ये इनकी पॉलिसी है, ये हर बार करते हैं। जब मैं बाहर जाता हूँ ये करते हैं, जब लोग यहाँ आते हैं मैं करता हूँ। हमें मैसेज मिलता है कि हमें बताया गया है कि सरकार हमसे कहती है कि आपसे नहीं मिले। हिंदुस्तान को हम भी रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, सिर्फ सरकार नहीं रिप्रेजेंट करती है। बट मोदी जी इस नॉर्म को फॉलो नहीं करते हैं, फॉरेन मिनिस्ट्री इस नॉर्म को फॉलो नहीं करती।
क्यों नहीं चाहते सर आपसे मिलना?
इनसिक्योरिटी है।
It's insecurity, says Rahul Gandhi. Modi is an insecure prime minister, doesn't want visiting dignitaries to meet the opposition to get a different perspective. Well, viewers, his claim didn't even survive a basic scrutiny. The MEA fact-checked Rahul Gandhi. The MEA says he must understand the norms and the rules. The MEA facilitates meetings for visiting dignitaries only with government officials and institutions. Any other meetings are for foreign delegations to arrange, not the government of India. So, if Mr. Putin has come here, it is for Putin's delegation to opt to meet the LOP or anyone else they want to meet. It is for Rahul Gandhi's team to reach out to Putin's delegation, perhaps in advance, to say, look, I'm seeking an appointment and so on and so forth. In any case, viewers, since 9th June 2024 as LOP, this is just when Rahul assumed charge as LOP, Rahul Gandhi has met Sheikh Hasina, former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, 10th June 2024, also earlier in 2022, Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, 21st August 2024, Naveen Chandra Ramgulam, Prime Minister of Mauritius, 16 September 2025. Christopher Luxon, Prime Minister of New Zealand, 8 March 2025. Pham Chinh, Prime Minister of Vietnam, 1st August 2024. The MEA's clarification has punctured this provocation, and the facts tell an even sharper story. As leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi has met multiple visiting dignitaries. So why this needless sour note on India's moment? Let's fundamentally ask this question. Sanjay Jha is here with us. Dr. Anand Ranganathan is here with us. BJP's national spokesperson RP Singh is here with us. Sanjay Jha, over to you. You've seen the facts. You know how this plays out. I think Rahul Gandhi is experienced enough. He's been around long enough. He knows the system. Why is he striking this sour note? Especially when India needs to send out a very clear message of unity.
Rahul, good evening to you and to Anand and Mr. Singh. Let me keep my answer brief. Number one, the reason why it has become a protocol, not just in India, but all over the world, when foreign heads of state or senior dignitaries visit another country, they do meet leaders of the opposition, because everyone is aware that there is an opposition that is different from the ruling party in government. There are elections and governments change. Mostly they do. And at some point they will do in India as well. And this is the reason why they engage with both sides, because there are no permanent winners or losers in politics. Sure. And heads of state like to know what the larger country's interests and issues are. Point number one. Point number two, I think it's important to note this point, that the reason why we should take Rahul Gandhi extremely seriously is because tomorrow there could be a BJP leader of opposition, right? And a leader of opposition in any democracy is deemed to be like a shadow prime minister. It's like a prime minister in waiting. Number three, look at the numbers very carefully, Rahul. The NDA led by Mr. Modi with outside support has 44% of the aggregate votes they got. Rahul is correct in saying that we represent the voice of India. I mean, the 42% people who have voted for the India Alliance MPs represent the voice of this country. So Rahul is basically saying we represent at
Sanjay
42%.
No one has a problem. But there is, you said,
for India's future.
Okay, so very quickly, you said protocol. The protocol suggests a written rule, a documented written rule. There is none. In fact, the MEA has pointed out to you. No, one second. Then why is Rahul Gandhi, how did he end up meeting people like Sheikh Hasina, Anwar Ibrahim, Naveen Chandra Ramgulam, very, very important strategic partners, viewers, of this country. New Zealand, Vietnam. Vietnam is an important player today, a counterfoil to China. How is he ending up meeting all of them if Modi is so insecure that he doesn't want? So there is a procedure.
No, let me answer you very quickly. It's an important point you raised, Rahul. Let me answer you very quickly. We don't have much time, so I would love to hear what Anand and Mr. Singh have to say. If you look at two issues that have dominated global headlines, right? The Russia-Ukraine war and the entire brutalization of Gaza by Israel. On both, the opposition has differed with this government. We have not supported the way the Indian government has actually literally played footsie
So
with
there has
Mr.
been
Putin.
no state visit of Benjamin Netanyahu to India.
No.
So we're
I'm making a
comparing
larger point.
apples with oranges. No, the fact is, when people have
there
come in,
can
Rahul
be a
Gandhi has
difference of
met them.
opinion.
So he's fact-checked. His facts are not standing up to scrutiny, sir. That's well. And let me just bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Okay,
Fair enough.
this is the problem, viewers. Something that is not defensible, people want to defend. I just don't understand this. The facts tell you that there is no prohibition. That whenever people have come in, Rahul Gandhi's met them. He might have told them whatever he wanted to. Dr. Ranganathan, where do you step in? After that, RP Singh, for the government point of view. Yes, Doctor.
Good evening, Rahul. Once again, Congress's lies stand exposed. I'm hearing President Putin is scheduled to visit a childcare center in Delhi tomorrow. So he might indeed meet Rahul Gandhi. No, but seriously, the entire controversy is ridiculous and of Rahul's own making, I'm afraid. Not tired of denigrating India on foreign soil, he now wants to denigrate India in front of foreigners on Indian soil. Personally, left to me, I would allow each and every foreign dignitary to take time out and meet up with Rahul Gandhi. They would then walk away with even more praise for Narendra Modi, realizing what kind of opposition leaders he has to put up with Delhi. Indian democracy would indeed notch up a few higher ranks in that Nordic Democracy Index. Look, first, dozens of foreign visiting dignitaries have visited and met Rahul Gandhi on their India trips, from presidents and prime ministers of Bangladesh to Malaysia to New Zealand. God knows what he advised them, because soon after they either lost the elections or were deposed. Anyway, he is lying when he says the tradition has been discontinued by Modi. Straight lie. Second, I wouldn't be, but I suppose it is natural for the government to be tired of Rahul Gandhi's lies and fake narratives and propaganda. Rahul's hatred for Modi has actually now transmogrified into hatred for India. When he's on foreign soil, he meets India and Hindu haters like Omar Ilhan or Jeremy Corbyn, who passed a resolution that supported, quote, international intervention in Kashmir and a call for UN-led referendum. He wants the West to intervene and save democracy in India. Besides, what would he tell Putin? That India is a dead economy? Don't invest in India? This when India is the fastest growing large economy, posting highest ever forex, exports, PMI, GST collection and Sensex. What would he tell Putin, Rahul? That Indian elites were profiteering from Russian oil? When the Indian government has directly earned upwards of $3 billion from Reliance as windfall for exporting refined Russian oil? When the people who have profited from this are not elites but ordinary Indians? When India has saved $26 billion over the past 3 years by choosing Russian oil over Saudi oil. Not just because of discounted Russian oil, but also because increasing our procurement of it has lowered oil prices in general, saving us money for the rest of our oil procurement. Without that, our inflation would have risen cumulatively by 1.47% beyond its actual level in those years, helping the poor and the disadvantaged, not the elite. What would he tell Putin? That India did not win Operation Sindoor, that we surrendered? When Indian and Russian arms and ammunition provided an incredible victory to us. Look, bottom line is, Rahul has spared no opportunity to denigrate not just Modi, but also India in front of the world. I don't mind it, because this only exposes him and his deranged, irrational, illogical thinking. But as I said, maybe the government is tired of it. There is also a scheduling problem, Rahul, because most times when foreign dignitaries are visiting India, Rahul is away visiting their country.
Arguably. Well, I do sympathize with you, Dr. Ranganathan, because Rahul Gandhi has forced Dr. Ranganathan to put his mind to the issue on his birthday. So have a great 53rd. Enjoy your evening. But let me just bring in RP Singh. RP Singh, how do you respond to Sanjay Jha? What is your take? I mean, petty-mindedness. Rahul Gandhi has accused you of insecurity. How do you respond to this?
Well, Rahul, is there any rule that every time any foreign dignitary visits that the leader of opposition need to meet? did they raise any question for Mallikarjun Ji Kharge for that regard? No, he's also leader of the opposition in Rajya Sabha. He's the leader of the opposition party also, Congress party also. Did they ever raise the issue on Adhir Ranjan Da? No, they never raised the issue on Adhir Ranjan Da. He was the leader of the opposition in Lok Sabha. Never ever they raised the issue. But now they have to create an issue. And what will Rahul Gandhi say? Oh, Mr. Putin, you are aggressor. Well, that's the tone he uses, as he uses for the Prime Minister, tu tadak. So is he going to use the same tone? Well, you don't know what tone he is going to use. But as for the protocol and as far the Prime Minister and the ruling party goes, well, after the Operation Sindoor, leader of the oppositions were heading the committees which went worldwide, putting across the Indian point of view. And they put quite a sensible point of view, and leaders from the Congress party, including Salman Khurshid and Manish Tiwari and others were there who led the groups. And rather Congress, there was a problem within the Congress party that why are they speaking the language which suits India? Well, why they went and took up the Indian issue with the foreign land? One. Secondly, give me another second. How will you take a leader who is being quoted by the Pakistan in UN Assembly? You remember after 370, he said there's a bloodbath in India, Kashmir, and he was exactly quoted by Imran Khan in UN Assembly saying that, oh, Rahul Gandhi is saying so, this is a bloodbath in India. So there's a leader who doesn't go by the harmony. I mean, when you represent India, you represent as an Indian. And when you say India is a union of state, not a country, I mean, what do you expect from a man about whom Obama said, student who is eager to impress but lacks the aptitude to master the subject. I mean, that's what Obama said in
quick one, Sanjay Jha. I mean, what would Rahul Gandhi tell Mr. Putin, who wants to expand trade with India, wants to invest in the India growth story, that India is a dead economy? Sorry, but look for another market. I mean, what's he going to tell him? In any case, not that it's in the government's hands, but in any case, what would he tell him? Let me put that question.
Rahul, let me tell you one. What Rahul would tell him is not something that I'm here to, I don't know, I can't tell you that. But think about it like this, right? When an Indian Prime Minister visits abroad, take America as an example. You may have a Republican administration or a Democratic administration. To meet the leader of the opposition is almost like a done thing. It's not a big deal.
Sir, the MEA has come out. Why are you obfuscating? The MEA has come out and said the following. Please, let's pay attention to what they said.
Rahul is saying there is an attempt to dissuade people to meet
MEA facilitates
His allegation
meetings.
is an attempt to dissuade.
Allow me, sir.
That's a
MEA,
point.
well, you should prove it. MEA facilitates meeting for visiting dignitaries only with government officials and institutions. Any other meetings are for foreign delegations to arrange, not the government of India. That's the standard. And viewers, there are 8 meetings that have been listed by the government since Rahul became LOP. Why would the government that is insecure, as Rahul suggests, dissuades?
Rahul is a very simple answer.
Is Putin some?
It's a very
1 second. Is Putin? Is Mr. Hang on. Is Mr. Modi jealous that Putin's Putin's attentions might be distracted by the handsome Rahul Gandhi, and therefore, oh my God, I must hang on to Putin, so Putin doesn't stray and doesn't talk and do other stuff. Come on, viewers.
Can I answer you?
We're all grown up people
Rahul Gandhi
here.
is saying, what Rahul Gandhi
I
is
think
saying...
Rahul Gandhi is looking for an excuse.
Can I finish? Rahul Gandhi is saying that a meeting with the leader of opposition should be willy-nilly part of the agenda of the government.
No, I'm sorry. There are certain protocols, there are certain sensitivities, there are certain expectations, and there is a certain norm. Let's follow the norm. The norm is MEA facilitates meetings for visiting dignitaries only with government official institutions. If you go arbitrarily, viewers, you're going to create problems, because one dignitary will come, may not want to meet Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi will then say, no, I want to meet him. There'll be another diplomatic embarrassment. Who knows, viewers?
Do you think Mr. Putin
maybe everyone has read Obama's book.
That Mr. Putin
no, I'm saying maybe Obama's book has been widely read by a large number of visiting dignitaries, and they think it's a waste of time. Maybe, I don't know. Think about that.
Are you insinuating?
I leave it at
Are you insinuating that Mr. Putin is sending out a message that he doesn't want
I don't know what you're talking about. All I'm saying is maybe these leaders who are coming don't want to spare time. That's why. I leave it at this, viewers.
This is News 18 Network.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
Stay ahead with News 18. News from your city in your language. Real-time updates, in-depth analysis, and breaking news. Anytime, anywhere. Only on the News 18 app. Scan and download the News 18 app now.
सैल्यूट है जी, आप देश की रक्षा में जान लगा देते हैं
और आप
घर घर में तार लगाते हैं जी। ई बीम टेक्नोलॉजी से बनी, न जले न पिघले, सबकी रक्षा करे।
हम सरहद पर लोगों की रक्षा करते हैं और आप देश के अंदर। सैल्यूट तो बनता है जी।
अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर, अपार देश का तार।
The all-new Hyundai Venue, take up, go beyond.
Finessa Windows, beautiful and durable designs. इंस्टॉलेशन से मेंटेनेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर सर्विस। आपके घर में फिनेस्टा नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए।
Find Finer Finesta.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
फिनेसा विंडोज, ब्यूटीफुल एंड ड्यूरेबल डिजाइन्स। इंस्टॉलेशन से मेंटेनेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर सर्विस। आपके घर में फिनेस्टा नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए।
Find Finer Finesta. Stay ahead with News 18. News from your city in your language. Real-time updates, in-depth analysis, and breaking news. Anytime, anywhere. Only on the News 18 app. Scan and download the News 18 app now.
सैल्यूट है जी, आप देश की रक्षा में जान लगा देते हैं
और आप
घर घर में तार लगाते हैं जी। ई बीम टेक्नोलॉजी से बनी, न जले न पिघले, सबकी रक्षा करे।
हम सरहद पर लोगों की रक्षा करते हैं और आप देश के अंदर। सैल्यूट तो बनता है जी।
अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर, अपार देश का तार।
Conversations, the broad contours of the conversation would have already begun. Yes, they are stepping in together. They are stepping in together. They are going together. There you go. The import of this is important. This looks like the president's vehicle. The president's vehicle in which Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also seated. The president sitting